Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second session of our Flutter study group. Can everyone see my screen? Because I saw that in the chat that the screen looked incomplete. So I'm not sure which part that you couldn't see. Maybe I will switch to another monitor because I'm using an ultra wide monitor. Let me try. I will stop sharing first. Okay, give me a moment. Wrong screen. Okay, sorry. Can you guys see the slide now? All right. Okay, let me just do a bit of an adjustment first. Okay. So before we start, let me give a little bit of introduction about Women Who Code. So we are a non-profit organization started in San Francisco in 2011. And the mission is to inspire women to excel in technology careers. So basically, we want to make sure that that all women are equally represented in technology careers. And right now, we have over 230,000 members across 84 countries around the world. And the Kuala Lumpur chapter we launched in 2014. And now we have organized more than 100 events. So if you want to check out our future events, just follow our Facebook page. And about the Flutter study group, like I mentioned in the last session that it is not a workshop, it is not a talk. So we want to encourage active participation from everyone. So whenever you have questions or you have any comment, feel free to unmute yourself and speak whatever you want throughout the session. Or you can also share your screen to debug together and show your progress. So the goal of the group is to help one another. And the answer can come from anyone. It doesn't have to be from me or from the other Women Code members, the organizers. It can come from anyone as long as you know the answer or you have a clue about the answer. And then if you have not joined our Facebook group, So this is a private Facebook group that I posted in the Meetup link. You should be able to find the link at the Meetup event page. I just put it here because previously there are some people who join and cannot find the link. So I just put it here, so just feel free to join. So once you are here, then I will put up all the learning units here. So the learning units is the place where you can find the learning materials for all our learning activities for every week. So if you press on unit, then you can see that, okay, last week we had the install with me session. So if you didn't join our previous session, you can always come to here and then you can find the resources that I post up. So we were just following the installation instruction. And then this week, we are going to look into something that is not directly related to Flutter. We are looking into Dart, which is the language that is used by the Flutter library. So as for learning any framework, you need to be familiar with the programming language that you use first. So today will be a very good introduction that can build a good foundation to your Flutter understanding. Amiru said cannot join the group, but I didn't see your membership request also. Okay, never mind. I will monitor this page and then I'll let you in once you click join. So today will be on this code lab. So you should be able to find the link at the unit just now. So just click into this one and then we are here. So yep, thanks Jessica. So what we are going to learn today is on how to create constructors, specifying parameters, on getters and setters. So this kind of things look like it is related to object-oriented programming. So, and then the title also mentioned that it's for Java developers. So we assume that this code lab assume that you already have a pretty good understanding on OOP. Okay, let's click next. So it says here, create a simple Dart class. So I suppose here there are multiple ways of doing it. One is to use the Dart pad. Yeah, this code lab provides a new Dart pad instance for every set. Yeah. So Dart pad is just an online compiler. And then you can type your code here and then click run. Then the output should display in the console. Okay. Actually, I haven't used that pad before. Or the second way is to do it with your IDE. For example, I have this one. So I use Visual Studio Code. You can also use Android Studio or any IDE that you prefer. I hope you can see this. Okay. So how I got here is I create a new folder called Learn Dart. And then I create a new folder inside the learn.dat folder called bin. And then inside there, I put an empty file called main.dat. Okay, so let me add this, which I already added lah. I just remove everything and do it again. Or can I have a show of hands that how many of you guys are totally new to programming at all? So before this, you haven't learned object-oriented programming or any sort of programming. Then you might find this tutorial a bit difficult for you to catch up. Okay, I'll zoom this. The Facebook link on meetup.com doesn't work. Okay, did I post the wrong link? Sorry, let me check. When you click on the group, you can't see this page, is it? Maybe it's because I make the group hidden from search. I'm not sure. Never mind, just let me change something. Let it be visible. Okay. Olivia, can you try again? Jean said you don't have a background encoding. Yeah, all right. Okay, cool. It should work for you now. Okay, let's continue. So what can we see from here is there is a main method, which is the entry point of Dart. The main method lives at the top level. Okay. So this private tag thing should be very familiar with people from the Java background, I suppose. The public and private protected keywords. Well, personally, for me, I came from JavaScript background, not Java. So it is a bit different. So there are some code conventions that we can follow in Dart. So you can check out this page. It mentions the best practices that you should follow when you are coding in Dart. Okay. Define a bicycle constructor. All right, so constructor should be placed here inside our class. Oh, right now we haven't run anything yet, right? So if you are in that pad, it is as simple as pasting the code here and then press run. Let us try this way. Copy. So once you click run, you should just see empty output because we don't have anything in the main method. Okay, I have done this just now. This constructor has no body, yes. If you forgot the semicolon, yeah, semicolon is very important in that. Unlike in JavaScript where you don't have to put the semicolon, it is optional. If you put there, it's okay, but if you don't put, it's fine also. Using this in constructors parameter, this is a handy shortcut. Yep. So this constructor is equivalent to this one. It is just a shorthand of this. Any Java developers here? I somehow remember that in Java that you have to put this line, right? It's not like you can skip this. So I guess that's one good thing about that. And then we can format the code. Reformat the code. Oh, you can do this in that pad, is it? Where is the, okay, it's here. So if I enter something here, and then I format, yeah, it should format for me. Albert asks, can you put a default parameter in the value? Yeah, you can put a default parameter. I think we will come to that in a bit. So now it is just at the basic format of constructor. And then here we will learn how to instantiate it. Okay, so I can copy this, put into here, save and run. Yeah, so it should print me an instance of bicycle. And the new keyword is optional. Okay, so I can remove this and it still can run. Yep, okay. If you know a variable, that won't change. Yeah. So there are a few modifiers, I suppose. So one is using var, another is using final. So the difference is it says that a variable's value won't change. Let's try. If I declare the byte variable using var, then I could do something like this. And then the byte variable will be reassigned to a new instance of bicycle. But then if I use final, then it will say that, okay, the final variable byte can only be set once. So this is, the modifier is to protect you and other developers from accidentally reassigning the variable. Okay. Yeah, so just now we saw this output instance of bicycle. It is not very informative, because if we want to check the content inside the bicycle instance, it is not very helpful. So let's see what we can do. All Dart classes have a toString method that can override. Okay, let's do this. So once we have this, and then we run the code, yeah, so it tells me the speed of the bicycle. Oh, hello, Safina. Welcome. So now we are just at the first, are we at the first? Yeah, the second page of the introduction to Dart Code Lab. The link you can find in the Facebook private group. So let's see. Support single or double quotes. Yes. So this is how you define a string. You can enclose it with either single or double quote. So here it uses the single quote, it's fine too. Use string interpolation. Yeah, so you can see that here we can just put the $sign. If we want to print out the $sign in output, let me try if this really works. No, I think we have to enclose it, and then no, it doesn't work like that. If you insist to print that out, then we need to do something like this. Oh, okay, that's the escape. Yeah, just escape it. So you can see the output with the $sign. Yeah, there are two ways of using string interpolation. One is to include inside curly braces. If it's an identifier, you can skip the braces. Just like this one, you don't have to enclose it with curly brace. But if you want, you can too, like this. So if let's say you want to do something like speed plus, let's say speed times 100, then you should enclose it with curly braces. and then it should print out. Okay, because it's 0 times 100, so it's still 0. Okay, so we have got this output already. Someone can actually draw on my screen. Okay. Add a read-only variable. Oh yeah, let me know if I'm going a bit too fast, or if you have anything that you want to discuss throughout, then just raise your question or discussion in the chat or unmute yourself. Okay. Make speed a private read-only instance variable. So what we can do is we just start the identifier name with an underscore. Okay. So here, remove the speed parameter. Remove the second speed parameter from the call to the bicycle. I removed this. Initialize speed to 0. Okay. So here I can put a default value. And of course here I need to change as well. Or no, later. Because we have a getter that will return me the private identifier value. So let's do this. Add this to the bicycle class. Okay. Let's try to run this. Yeah, still run. But this time we are using a default value in the constructor.
Hello. Hi, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So, like private members of the class are not allowed to be in the constructor. Is that, I mean, what you're saying?
Private constructors are not allowed to be in the class. What do you mean by that?
Private members are not allowed to be in the constructor. Is it?
Actually, we can try. It will still work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. Thanks.
Okay, all right. Okay, so our observations here is uninitialized variables will have the value now. Let's see if we try to print out the, how do we test this? So if we don't initialize this and we run this code, okay, sorry, I should remove this. Yeah, so the speed will be now because we didn't define the value for speed anywhere. So the default value is now. Okay. Implicit getters and setters. Yeah. So what does it mean by implicit is if you want to access the value of cadence and gear, even if you don't define the getter like this, it will still work. Like for example, if I try to print the cadence value, yeah, you still can access the value of the implicit getter. So implicit setter is if you do this, let's see, we try something like this. So we are setting the cadence value of the byte instance to 9. Let's see what's the output here. Yeah, so the new value is 9 now. But then with private member, you can't do this. So if I want to I'm not supposed to be able to do this, right? Let's see. Oh, actually you can. But then if I mark this as final, then you shouldn't be able to use the setter because it is set as final. Okay. Let's revert this.
Oh, so the underscore is just like a soft rule. You can actually listen like, okay.
But then one thing I know is from if you name the class with an underscore, then you wouldn't be able to import this class from another file. So let's say if I have a second file called main2.dart, then I wouldn't be able to import the bicycle class from here.
Oh, okay. So maybe it works that way for the member variable as well. Maybe you can use the setter in another file.
Maybe. I haven't tried that before. Okay. Let's see what it's trying to do here. Add the following methods to the bicycle class. Okay. Add this. The final Dart example looks similar to the original Java, but it's more compact at 23 lines instead of 40. Oh, okay. You can compare here lah. So this is how a Java class look like. Okay, except that it doesn't have the public and private modifier. And it doesn't have this part. Cool, so it looks more concise. So we are at the optional parameters. Okay, I didn't know that this codelab actually follows the example from the official Java tutorial. The Java code shows overloading constructors. But Dart doesn't support overloading constructors. Okay, we will see what does it mean by overloading. Add a rectangle constructor. Add a single empty constructor. Okay, this means that I'm creating a new one, right? Well, I'm lazy. I'm just gonna paste the code here. Wait. It doesn't have the full code, is it? Okay, never mind. I'll type it. Oh, okay. I didn't see this. So it pre-populate for you. All right. Thank you. I'll copy this. Import must go to the first line. Okay. Then I will add the constructor. Oh yeah, one thing that I like about the auto formatting is, let's see if it can work here. So if I put the comma, yeah, if I put a trailing comma, then it should auto format for me. So I don't see one long line of the code. Okay, much better. This dot origin, this dot width, and this dot height. Use the shorthand trick. They are optional name parameters, and they are enclosed in curly braces. Yeah, so there are two ways of putting the parameters. One is positional, as we have seen just now with the bicycle class. And this one, it is the name parameters. So let's see. This dot origin, specify a default value of 00 from the origin variable. Oh, the auto formatting. Let's see. Yeah, before this, it was one whole line. So if I want to see each variable in its own line, then I can put a trailing comma, and then I press save, because I have set the auto formatting in Visual Studio Code. So I suppose it will be the same in the Dartpad, where you can do this. And then if you put a trailing comma and press format, it should do the auto formatting. Yep, okay. Again, we can improve the output by overriding the toString method. Okay, let's do this. Copy, paste. Yeah, okay. And then now we can use the constructor in our main method. Replace with the following code and verify that you can instantiate rectangle. Okay, we can try this. We put this in the main method. Let's comment this. So if you don't know the shorthand of commenting out the code, it is, I'm using Mac, so it is command slash, the forward slash, command slash. And I think on Windows, it is control slash. Okay. So let's see what is the output of this. Well, I can do this also. If I use Visual Studio Code, I can also click run from here. Then it will appear in my debug console. So I see here there's 10, 20. What does that mean? Oh, so it's the origin value, .x, .y, width and height. What we can see here is if we provide a value to the origin and to width and height, then when you instantiate the rectangle variable, it will take the value. Else, if I omit the width and height, then it will fall back to the default value, which is 0. And same goes to if I just define width and omit the rest, then only the width will be set. Or I can just drop everything, because everything here, it is optional. Yeah, we have put this in the curly braces, so it is optional. Yep, so we got the output. Oh, we are at the factory. What is a factory? I didn't come from a Java background, so when I first learned it in Dart, it is a bit difficult to understand. So yeah, let's see. So it can be used to hide the details of instantiation, provide the ability to return a subtype. Yeah, okay. There are two ways to implement a factory. One is to create a top level function. Okay. Oh, another example, shapes. I'll just paste it here. Okay, now we have two main methods. I'll remove this. Comment this out and paste it here. Okay, what does this mean? Thanks, Albert, for the explanation. Okay, what's inside the Dart pad? Should be the same, right? Okay. In the console area, you should see the computed areas. So if I run this, yeah, I should see this output. Yep, it's the same. So what do we learn here? That supports abstract classes. So you can define an abstract class like this. So the thing about abstract class is it cannot be instantiated, unlike a normal class. You can define multiple classes in one file. Yes, we just did. Dart Math is one of the core libraries. So let's see, if we don't import this library, it should show some error somewhere, because this library, this point class, it actually comes from the math core library. So I just import this. Yeah. By convention, that library constants are lower camel case. So this is just one of the best practices. So yeah, you can follow the style guidelines in the effective Dart page. They have defined all the do and don'ts. The following code show two getters that compute a value. So in the first example, here our getter, it just return the value of the private member. But in fact, you can also do something like this. So it doesn't have to be just returning back the value. You can do some computation also in the getters, like this. Okay, so what is the first option? Can create a top level function. Okay, what does it mean by top level function? By adding the following function at the highest level outside of any class. Actually, what does it mean by outside of any class? Can I do this? And then what do? I invoke the factory function by replacing the first two lines. Okay. Copy. My main method is here. Replace the first two lines. So it should be like this. Yeah, so the output is the same. Interesting. So what can we learn from here? If the function is called with any string other than circle or square, it should throw an exception. Yep. Here, it does the checking where if the type is other than circle or square, then it will come to this line where it will throw an error. So if I have something, then it should throw an error. Yep, cannot create something, but it has to be the thing that you have already defined here. Okay, change back to square. What else? Define classes for many common exceptions. When an exception is encountered, it reports uncaught exception. Yeah, so there's this optional exercise where you can see where you can use the try catch to catch any possible exception that is thrown. So to trigger exception, don't implement a check for triangle. Yeah, so this is similar to what we did just now. So when it throws an exception, it wouldn't just show there's an uncaught exception, but it will just print out the error, which is what you see in the console here. Okay. To use a single quote inside string, you can either escape it or specify with double quote. Yeah. So it's up to your preference. In that, I remember it doesn't mention that you have to use single quote or double quote based on their convention. You can use either one. Just that if you want to use if you want to print a single quote, when the string is enclosed with a single quote, then you have to escape it with a backslash. Okay, there is another option, which is to create a factory constructor. So there is a factory keyword that you can use. So let's see. If I put this inside the abstract class, okay. Where is my abstract? Okay, here. I put it here. Replace the first two lines of main with the following code. Okay, I will do this. And then I run this. It should give me the same output. So it is equivalent to the shape factory that we define outside the abstract class. So which way do you prefer? Do you like the first option like this, or the second option where you define inside your abstract class? Personally, I will think that this way it looks much cleaner, where you can enclose it inside a class, so it's easier to organize your code. Okay, next, let's see how many more. Okay. Implement an interface. So we also can in that language doesn't have the interface keyword because every class defines an interface. Yeah, so this is something that is very different from our usual understanding, where any class can be an interface. So let's see, open the shapes example in Dartpad. So this is the example that we have just now. Add a circle mock that implements the circle interface. All right. Copy. Oh, so it has an error saying that missing concrete implementation.
Sorry, I don't have a phone number for Chris.
Yep, because it doesn't inherit the implementation of circle. So how do we fix this? We add the area and radius. So what do we learn from here? Even though the circle mock class doesn't define any behavior, the area instance of circle mock implements the area getter of circle. So if I don't include this, then it will also raise an error because it's supposed to have the radius. If I don't include this, also it will have an error because circle actually implements shape. No, it's because of this one. Let's see. Okay, we can also use that for functional programming because so far we have only tried the object-oriented way, but you can also do it in a functional programming way. So functional programming means that we can pass functions as arguments. We can assign function to a variable. So basically it means that it treats function as first-class citizens. So we can come to that here. The following example uses an imperative code. Okay, I'm lazy to paste the code. I will just run from here. Yeah. When using string interpolation, the string a times length evaluates to the character a repeated length times. Yeah, so for the first iteration, length times for length in values. So it is looping through this one. So 1 time, 2 times, 3 times until 50 times. So how do we convert it to a functional way? So for those who are familiar with functional programming, you can actually put your function inside the map method. This map method is built in. So every iterables in that will have the map method. So map is equivalent to the for loop. You can iterate on every values inside the iterables. So in this case, it's a list. Yeah, so list and iterable classes. So if I do this, it should give me the same output. Yeah, so it print this out. Oh yeah, the difference between map and for each is for map, it will return back the value of the output of this variable, this evaluation. And then for each, it just, it doesn't return anything, but it will run the method inside here. So scream is essentially the function we pass into the map method, yes. So you can pass in anything here. So if you don't have the scream method defined here, you can also do something like this. Let's see. Yeah. Actually, I can just copy and paste what I have here, and it should still give me the same output. So if yeah. So you can define the function here, or you can define the function outside like this. Then you put in the function inside. If I want to transform or manipulate the data, I should use map. In this case, you can say so, because let's say if I just do this, then it will say that there's an error because for each, it must return a void value, which is not the case here, because here it will return the string and not void. Unless I do something like this, I'm printing out stuff. Then it will work. So if you are using map, then you can also do things like this. So I put scream, and then I can assign a new array here, new values. And then if I print out the new values, you should see, okay, let me comment this out first. Yeah, you will see that the new values is an iterable of the output of scream. So one is with return, one is without return. Okay, use more iterable features. So like just now, we use this. You can pipe it with other methods as you like. So just now, this is without piping. I stopped at .map. So here is it pipe it with the for each and print. So it will print out the output to the console. Or you can also use the other methods and do the manipulations. You can type it like this. Let's see what does this output. Skip one. Okay, I can't remember. I can't remember exactly what are the use of these methods. Let me also get this and compare the output. Okay, skip one, the thing is it is skipping the first value and then take 3. So I take the 3 values in the middle and then I run the screen methods on the manipulated values. And then I print it out. Yeah, so it says here, skip the first value, get the next 3 values, and then the remaining are ignored. Woohoo! So we are at the end of the code lab. So here there are some extended resources. You can check it out because Dart has many more features. As we go along the rest of the Flutter study sessions, then we will come to these keywords like async await, where you have asynchronous code. Just feel free to check out the examples here, and then you can do method cascading. There are also now aware operators, which I think is very, very cool. It is like a synthetic sugar where you don't have to like check if something is null, then you return this value. If that value is also null, then you return another value. So with the now aware operators, you can make the code much cleaner. Yeah, so there are many more code labs. Feel free to try. We will also cover more code labs in our following sessions. So here, actually, everything here is code lab on its own. The next week, we will start to create our first Flutter app. I split it into part 1 and part 2 because I don't want to make it too long and maybe too much to digest. So yeah, feel free to learn more from the resources here. If any of you guys found a good resource out there, also feel free to post it. You can post it inside the unit. So I hope that you can actually create a post here. Let me know if you can. If you cannot, then maybe just post in the discussion. Yeah. So feel free to write your post here. It can be sharing a resource, or if you have any question, or you have just want to show your progress on learning something. Yeah. So we have come to the end of our learning session for today. It is 11:10 now. Yeah. Next week, we will continue with writing our first Flutter app. So if you have not installed Flutter, you can do it after this, so that when we come back on next week, then we don't have to spend too much time on installing and debugging Flutter installation problems. So yeah, and then is there any question that you want to know? If not, then we will end the session. Thank you very much for joining. Yeah, thanks, Vika. Thanks, everyone. See you next Saturday. Bye-bye.